Hi everyone, my name's Lynne and I lead the creative activities on Click, and I thought today I'd make a video for you guys to show you an activity that you might like to do at home when you've got some time to spare, maybe in the evenings or over the weekends, that you can produce something on your own at home following these instructions. So first of all, I'm going to go through what you will need, and it really helps to have everything in front of you before you start, just so that you know you can complete the task. So although you don't need a cup of tea. I've usually got one, so you might want a drink on the side just to help you as you work. You might want to play music while you work as well. Whatever helps you to concentrate and to enjoy what you're doing, that's what I would advise. So you need just a few things for this piece of work, this piece of art. First one is a sheet of A4 paper. If you haven't got A4, that's fine. A sheet of drawing paper will do. You can adjust it, the measurements of everything, to the size of your paper. But as most of you will probably be able to get a sheet of paper out of your printer at home, I thought that we'd work on that. You will need a normal pencil, a lead pencil, and a rubber to rub out some of the marks that you make, because it will make it nice and easy and a cleaner piece of work at the end if you can do that. So pencil and a rubber. You will need a ruler, and you might need some help with your ruling the lines, and that's fine. Ask someone to help you if you need it, and if you don't, you can just follow my instructions and do this on your own. So a ruler is essential for measuring in a minute. You will need some felt pens or pencils. I've got pencils today. I like colour pencils. I've got some nice ones all sharpened here, as you can see. And these are what I'm going to use for my piece of work today. You are also going to need a black felt pen or black Sharpie. Here's my black felt pen. Black felt pen or Sharpie, you will need one of those. And the last thing that you need is a saucer. And a saucer is about the right size to fit on your piece of paper. You are going to draw around it like this in a minute, and it needs to be smaller than the paper itself. So you need to be able to fit your circle in the paper with some space underneath. Okay, so I've got a saucer there. And with that, we will make a start. Now I'm going to swap to my other camera so you can see as I work exactly what we do. So now we're ready to begin our measuring and our ruling out. We'll need our ruler, our rubber and our pencil. We're going to measure in inches. My ruler is inches up this way. It isn't quite 12. So I'm going to share out the edges. So it's a bit over 12 inches, a bit bigger than this piece of paper. But if I bring the paper back a little bit, there's a little bit extra at that end and a little bit extra at that end, and that will work perfectly. To be honest, however you do this, it won't matter. So you're going to mark every 1 inch with a little mark, just to show where that is for your joining up squares in a minute. So every 1 inch across that way, then bring the ruler down and do exactly the same with a little bit spare there and a little bit spare there if you're working on A4, and mark the inch squares all the way along. And you're going to turn your paper the other way up. This is the portrait way up, and you're going to do exactly the same here. And we've got the same sort of situation. We've got a little bit over at either end, so I'm going to share that out. Just bring that along a bit so we can start our inches a little bit extra there, a little bit extra there. So mark your inches along that way, and then at the bottom do the same thing. So you've got a little bit extra there and a little bit extra there. See, there's the extra bit, inches all the way across. When you've done that, you are going to join up your lines. Now I'm going to go this way again and start the long way round. Line up your marks and draw lightly with your pencil. Some of these lines you will need to rub out, so don't draw too dark, don't press too hard. When you've gone all the way down, turn your paper round and start drawing across. Basically, you will have a squared piece of paper, and if they're not absolutely accurate, it doesn't matter. This is art, which means there are very few rules, and whatever you decide to do will be your creation, your original piece of work. And that's why art's so fantastic, because there is room for everything and everybody. But I know some of you quite like doing this sort of thing, so for those of you who do, this is a great activity. It's quite relaxing, drawing all those lines. And when you've drawn them all and your whole paper is squared, you're going to take your saucer, and I want you to place it near the top of your picture, somewhere equally distant each side. Doesn't have to be exact. About there, I'm going to place mine and then draw around it lightly in pencil. And when you've done that, this is where your rubber comes in, and you need to rub out everything that's in the middle of your circle. So go ahead and do that if you haven't got a rubber. Don't worry, you've only worked in pencil. When you bring your colour to it, which might be felt pens, it will cover it up. You'll probably be able to see it through pencil, but that doesn't matter. And you can try this for the first time, and then you may want to do it again on a different piece of paper or even card, because hopefully you'll enjoy doing it, and it is a nice piece that you could give to someone as a picture or as a card or as part of a card. So once you've learnt how to do this drawing, you will be able to use it more than once, I hope, and I hope you will. So when you've done that, just brush away your rubber rubbings, and you've got a circle surrounded by squares. The next part of the drawing involves drawing our tree, which is going to be in the centre here and coming down here. So I'm going to draw it and try and explain how to draw it as we go along, and you can copy me. We'll do it together and we'll do it quite slowly. Okay, so we're going to start somewhere up here at the top of your circle, not right in the middle, to one side, somewhere along the circle edge like that. And we're going to draw, it doesn't have to be straight, a line all the way down towards the other end of the circle, and as we come down we're going to come out again. Does that make sense, everybody? So we start here, we come down to the bottom end of the circle with a slight, it's not a straight line down, it curves in slightly, and then it curves out again. And then we're going to do similar, but not exactly the same, on the other side. You might want to come over a little bit more. I'm going to come down a bit, and we're going to come down. You can wobble it because trees are not straight. And then in, and then down the trunk, and then out at the bottom. That's our first two lines. These are going to be two of our branches, and now we've got to make them. These are the thick branches off of which the twigs will come. So these, they will always be thinner at the top and thicker towards the bottom. So we're going to start somewhere at the top, and as we come down you can follow the shape but come out a little bit to make it a little bit wider. Then we're going to go up again the other side and come in a little bit to make it thinner at the top and wider at the bottom. So we've got a V shape now. Okay, then we're going to add 2 more branches very similar to that, but we're going to make them come out at the bottom here. So we're going to take our pencil onto the trunk inside the circle on the trunk and then come out to the edge, whatever kind of shape you want. That's my shape for that one. We do the same thing. We come thin at the end, we follow it back down and slightly thicker as it joins the trunk. So that bit is thinner than that bit. And then we do the same the other side. I'm going to come down a little bit further on this side because trees are never, or very rarely, exactly the same shape on both sides. They're not like butterflies, they're not symmetrical. So I'm going to come up and out there, and the same, thinner at the top, coming thicker as I come back towards the tree. Now again, you want to take your rubber because these lines are all part of your tree, so I'm going to rub that out just to remind me that this is all one tree, and when I colour it in a minute, it's all part of the same tree. Now that's a bit bare, that tree, so I think we need to put a few more branches on. They work in exactly the same way as we've done already. So we join them on wherever we like on the trunk. They're thicker at the bottom and thinner as they go up. So I'm just joining mine on a slightly different sort of way. They can be any shape you like, thinner at the edge of the circle, wider when they join the trunk. You can wobble, they can wiggle around a bit, they can really go in any direction you want. That's a really wobbly one. I have a little one coming out of there. And another shaped one there. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing and rub out the joining lines just to remind me exactly what belongs to the tree and what is the background, because the background in a minute is going to be very, very important. So just cutting out those marks. Now if you want to leave your tree exactly like that, you can. If you want to add even more branches, you can. So in fact, while I'm rubbing that out, I'm going to rub the squares out that come down the trunk. Hopefully you can see that as well. So these squares won't be anything part of the background, they'll be part of the tree. So what we're looking for is a background of squares and a solid tree. So hopefully you will have something like that now. Now I might put 1 or 2 extra little branches on, just some thin ones going up to the edges. You can do this if you want to, you don't have to. You don't even have to go all the way to the edge if you don't want to. Trying to remember, I didn't do it very well there. That one came in too far, so I'm going to just make that a bit like that. But yes, you can draw a few little extra branches if you'd like to. So using your black felt pen or black Sharpie, if you've got a Sharpie, put something underneath because it might stain. the best coffee table or the best tablecloth, so don't do that. And start wherever you like and draw around the tree that you've drawn just inside the circle. That's all I want you to do. And when you're doing this, just relax, let the pen flow around the lines you've already done, and enjoy it. You have drawn a tree. This is the time to change any shapes that you want to as well. You can make your branches a little bit more knobbly if you want to, because they often are. When you've drawn your outline, I find that it's easier to colour it in. I hope you've got some nice music playing while this is happening, so you can relax and enjoy your art and what you're creating. I'm nearly finished drawing my tree now. This bit coming down here. Okay, and then you've just got to colour it. And don't worry if you go over the lines, because you can just incorporate it into your tree. Take your time on this part. If you enjoy colouring, just try and keep your lines inside the lines if you can. Again, your tree could be a really raggedy tree and that will look great as well. My black felt pen looks like it's going to run out, so I may have to go to my Sharpie in a minute. In fact, I will do that right now, but I do need to put something under this paper. So I'll put a book under here and use my Sharpie. You can carry on doing that until you finished your tree. So I will stop the video and finish colouring and come back in just a sec. So as you can see, about 10 or 15 minutes has passed and I have now almost finished colouring my tree in black. There's no rush to do these things, and if you need to turn your paper around to do it, as I have, just do whatever you need to do that makes it comfortable for you to do your work. And there we are, there's our tree. So now we're going to address this circle, which we are going to call the sunset. So inside this circle, we will make our sunset out of lovely warm colours. So the colours that I would suggest you use are oranges and reds, some yellows, and some, maybe a few purpley pinks as well. Something like that. There's another yellow and an orange there. Those kind of colours. You don't have to do it this way, but you'll see how it looks, and then you can decide whether you want to do it in the same kind of way as me. So in order to do our sunset, we're going to put aside our colours, we're going to take our pencil, and we're going to draw some wiggly lines across the background that sort of go all the way across. You can do them wherever you like, but that's going to help us colour our sky. This is just, you don't have to do this, but it's going to help me, so I imagine that if it helps me, it'll probably help you as well. This is just going to give us a little bit of an indication of how and where to colour. So I'm going to start with my yellows at the top, and you're going to stay inside the circle and colour down to the first line. So there's my first line, it's going across there. So I'm going to put my yellow above that. Everything above that line will be yellow. I hope you can see what's happening here. That bit in there will be yellow, but just stay inside the circle for your colouring. Use the edge of the circle to go up to. I'm doing it a little bit fast, and you can take your time with this. So after that yellow, the next colour I'm going to do is a pale sort of orange. So I'm going to, it's the other end actually of this pencil, so I'm just going to go across there with this. Well, it's a funny old colour really. It's a pale kind of colour. I'm not sure I like it, but it will do. It's quite a lot of this colour because I've done a big stripe here, but that's okay. And this is my sun-setting sky. I imagine this to be in the evening. Okay, so that's that one done. shall come back to you when I'm doing the last bit of the sky. So as you can see, I'm just finishing off the red. I've gone through the yellows and some shades of orange. In fact, I'm just not going to have any room to do any purples, but that's okay. So I'm going to do, that's the bit of the red there. And then the last bit, I will use a dark pink at the bottom there. And as you can see, I have only coloured inside the circle to give us a lovely sunset. And it's amazing if you just draw some lines across and you put the right sort of colours next to each other, you get this sort of sunset. But you don't have to do it like this. There are so many options that you could use to do your sunset, and I know everyone's will be different, and that is the wonder of art. Okay, so there's our background, and we've used our yellows and oranges and a little bit of pink at the bottom there. Okay, so the next thing to do is to sort out your coloured pencils or pens into the grass and the sky. And that's how we're going to colour the background squares. We're going to put grass, so all your greens, different shades of green. I've got 3 there. There's another green, and a bit of yellow will fit in there as well. So yellows and greens would be great for grass. So I'll put them that side. And then for your sky, which is everything above but in daytime, we want all the blues, all the purples, all the turquoises, all of these sorts of shades that you can find. I've got these blues and purples. A lilac will work in there as well. The blues and purples and lilacs and turquoises for the sky. And this is where it's going to take a bit of time, but I want you to decide where your grass starts and ends and where your sky starts and ends, and decide where you want to make that line. So I am going to make this line here my grass, or my background on the ground, and I'm going to start the sky. No, actually I'm going to come up to here. I think I shall make my line here. So everything above this line, I'll draw that line a little bit darker. Everything above the line will be in the blues and purples, and everything below the line will be in the greens and yellows. And now this is where your squares come in. So you start with all your greens and yellows, and you start doing squares randomly in whatever colour you like or from that selection. So you draw round your square and off you go. So I'll do a few to show you, and then I will leave you to do some, and you'll see me when I've done mine. I'll come back to you, put some music on, enjoy colouring. So there's one green, then I'm going to have a yellow next. Let's put a yellow next to that one. One square, one colour. And this is quite nice because you get to cover the area really well, but just a square at a time. This is how I clean my kitchen floors. A square at a time. Then I'm going to have a paler green, I think. This is a different green, yes. That one's going to go in there. There's my square. So draw your square in so you can follow the lines and go all the way across. When you get to a square that's a bit hidden, just colour one little bit of it in the green or the yellow that you want. Do that one in a bright green, that little bit there, And you have to imagine there's another one behind there, and there's another one here. So don't do that one the same colour because it's too big. So I will do this colour behind the other side of the tree. This yellow, which is a different yellow. But sooner or later you're going to repeat the colours that you've got, and that's fine. So I'm going to do that one again there. I have done this one once. And that's how you go, okay? I'll come back to you when I finish the green and started the blue. So you carry on, switch the video off here and do your colouring if you want to. So as you can see, I finished the greens and the yellows for the grass, so we can push those out of the way. And now we can move on to the sky with all the blues and turquoises that we've got. Yes, so start wherever you like. I'm actually going to start at the bottom and go up, I think. And I'm going to start with this colour here. Same thing, follow your squares and colour each one in a shade of your choice from the blues and lilacs and purples and turquoises that you have here. Again, I think it's easier if you draw around your square to start with and then start colouring in. I hope you're enjoying this and I hope you feel it's worthwhile, and to know that you started with a blank sheet of paper and you are now almost all the way towards colouring it in. I hope you are feeling proud of yourselves. I would be. I am feeling proud of myself doing this, and I hope you are too. So that's how you carry on. Your blues, your lilacs, your turquoises. I'm going to use this darker blue now next to it there, and carry on colouring your squares all the way up to the top. Make sure you've got a drink, make sure you've got some music on if you like music while you work, and I will come back when I'm nearly finished and show you how far I've got, and then I would love to see your work, and we will put it in the Click gallery. So there's some blues. I'm going to do a darker one in this square here. This is a dark purpley sort of colour. Dark blue, dark purple. And yes, I'll be back in a short while when I've coloured in some more. Enjoy! So as you can see, I am almost finished my colouring. Just a few more squares to do at the top here, just to complete that circle. I've really enjoyed colouring around the edge of the circle. I don't know if you have, but when you colour in that final kind of space that's left white, yeah, it feels really good that you have covered a sheet of paper with colour. Started out completely white, and now look where we are. So just do your final squares when you're up to this stage in your drawing. And I suppose that's taken me maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. It's not quick, and you can start and come back to it You can always carry on, and the whole point of these videos on YouTube is that you can stop and start them anytime, come back to them and work at your own pace at home in the way that you want to. So I think we'll have a bit of a bright blue in there. I've realised that some of my colouring pencils are better than others. Makes me want to perhaps put colouring pencils on my Christmas list, because I do really enjoy colouring and I love working with pencils. But some are not quite so good as others. And what should we do in there? A final blue. I'm sorry, I'm covering it up with my hand. That's my last square going in now. There you go. So there, it's curled up a bit at the edges. If you have white card, it would be even better. But there is our finished sunset tree patchwork picture. And of course you could do this on half size on a piece of card, a smaller version, and make a beautiful greetings card personalised for somebody. So I hope this has given you a few ideas of other things you can do. I would love to see your work if you do this one. I would love to see it. We would love to see it on Click and put it in the Click gallery. Here's our finished piece. A sunset tree on a patchwork background. I hope you've enjoyed having a go at that. Please join us for Click Create. We do lots of interesting things like this. We'd love to see you, and yeah, enjoy your art, whatever you do. Send it in. We'd love to see it. Take care, everyone. Bye.